Om Amriteshwari Namaha. My name is Ashwati and I'm a faculty at Amrita School of Spiritual and Cultural Studies. So I'll be your host for today. Let's begin today's session with a prayer. ध्यायामो धवलावकुण्ठनवती तेजोमयी नैष्टिकी स्निग्धापाङ्गविलोकिनी भगवती मन्दस्मितश्रीमुखी वात्सल्यामृतवर्षिणीं सुमधुरं सङ्कीर्तनालापिनी श्यामाङ्गीं वधुसिक्तसूक्तम् अमृतानन्दात्मिका ईश्वरी ॐ अमृतेश्वर्यै नमः ॐ अमृतेश्वर्यै नमः ॐ अमृतेश्वर्यै नमः. So once again, welcome everyone to the next session on Ṛgvedic geography. So I also welcome Jiji Nedamudi sir to start the section. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Just quick recap. So far we have done 3 sessions. So the first session was the introductory session where we are just introducing the 10 mandalas of the Ṛgveda, and then we had the summary of the Ṛgvedic chronology in the second session. And in the previous session, we had all the Ṛgvedic patterns, that is the kings who are mentioned in the Ṛgveda, that we have discussed. And I also request all the participants to focus on the book Reverse of Ṛgveda, which also follows almost the same sequence of the sessions. So the third session is the third chapter in that book. So if you are missing some sessions or attending it partially, then you will be benefited a lot by looking at the relevant chapter. And today, this is the 4th session. We are focusing on the Ṛgvedic poets or the Ṛgvedic composers. So when we say, because the terminology I use in the book is the Ṛgvedic poet, but like they are much more than a poet in the sense of today. Because today when you say poet, they have very limited kind of area of activities, etc. But in the ancient period, the poet themselves were the most intellectual people of the society. And so a kavi or a poet, the composer means they are equivalent of a lot of professions that are there today, like being expert in language, in poetry, but also in rituals, as well as what we call a scientist. So all combined into what? That's the poet. So even though the terminology we use is the Ṛgvedic poet because they compose the Ṛgvedic hymns. So they are the most intellectual people of those ancient period. And when the society diversified, most of the functions performed by these intellectuals are diversified into literature, art, science, or philosopher, etc. So that is how we have to see. And the terminology we use in our tradition is the rishi, that we call them rishis, because they have a lot of insights coming into their mind. Of course, like similar to an intellectual, the intellectual will have a lot of insights coming into their mind. So they are having high intuition, and they have some kind of ability to lead the society, including the kings, in Ṛgvedic kings. So that is the kind of position that the Ṛgvedic rishis or the poet or the composer was having. And the primary activity that the Ṛgvedic composers, they were highly connected with the devatas. So you can say some kind of, they have a kind of elevated consciousness so that they are directly in communication with the devatas, and they can bring the insights of and the blessings of the devatas to the associated kings and all the common people. And I have also shown a triangle in the introduction where I said the rishis, that is the composers or the poets, the patrons or the kings, and the devatas, those divine beings who bless or give insight. So these three, the rishis, the devatas, and the patrons, they form the three corners of the triangle of the Ṛgvedic triangle. So I think you have that inside your mind, that mental picture inside your mind. And I also mentioned about the 10 mandalas, the speciality of each mandala, etc. And so now we are going deeper and deeper. From the last session onwards, we focus a lot into the kings. And now we focus onto the rishis. So let me share the screen. So yeah, when we say rishis in the Ṛgveda, there are you can categorize them into two groups. One is the pre-Ṛgvedic rishis. So when I say pre-Ṛgvedic, we also had pre-Ṛgvedic kings like King Bharata. He is mentioned as an ancient king, older than the sixth mandala, the oldest mandala of the Ṛgveda. Or even people who are older than King Bharata, like Manu, Ila, Uruvas, Ayus, Nahusha, or Yayati, or the 5 sons of Yayati. All of them are ancient than the sixth mandala of the Ṛgveda. So they are all ancient figures even in the sixth mandala of the Ṛgveda. So similarly, we have a certain group of rishis mentioned as very ancient, even ancient than the sixth mandala of the Ṛgveda. So you have some of the rishis like Ushana Kavya. That is in the Puranas, he is mentioned as Shukracharya. Then there is a Tadya, another rishi named Tadya. And in the Puranas, sometimes he is mentioned as Dadiji. And then there are some other group of rishis like Navagvas and Dashagvas, and the ancestral Angiras. So Angiras, even in the Puranas or in the Itihasas, they mention Angiras as an individual. But in the Ṛgveda, you can see Angiras is like a common name, something like a family name or a collective name, applied to a large number of rishis, the Angirasa group of rishis. And similarly, the Bhrigu. So the Bhrigu, of course, just like in the Puranas, they mentioned about an ancient Bhrigu. Even in Ṛgveda, there is an ancient Bhrigu mentioned, as if that Bhrigu is the most ancient Bhrigu. But many descendants of the Bhrigu, we call it the eponymous Bhrigu, that is the most ancient Bhrigu. Many descendants of Bhrigu also mentioned as Bhrigus. So similar to the Angirasas. So there is an ancient Angirasa, the most ancient Angirasa. There is an individual rishi called Angirasa, and similarly an individual rishi called Bhrigu. But they are so ancient that the entire family, so there is an Angirasa family or a Bhrigu family, there are so many individuals who are all collectively mentioned as the Bhrigus or as Angirasas. It's mentioned in plural as well as in singular, like a individual rishi or as a group of rishis. And again, the word Angirasa doesn't always mention about as the most ancient individual Angirasa, but it can also refer to any of the members of the family. So that kind of an ambiguity is there in the Ṛgveda because it is very natural, because these rishis, these personalities were very ancient, even more ancient than that sixth mandala of the Ṛgveda. So you can imagine the personal names of many of the rishis are lost. So they are only referred to as their family, as a family name. So if you want to just give an example of it, maybe if you can imagine in some future, many names, family names like Malhotra, or even in the context of Kerala, if you say Nair or something, all these things, we know it is all collective names. But in a remote future, when they don't know the different individuals who have these surnames or family names, they may think that it is a single individual, and they may even fuse together the different activities of different individual living in the separated by centuries, as if they are all same individual. So these things can happen when many centuries and millennia pass. And in the very ancient period, individuals get lost their individuality, everything get mixed up, and people always think the family name to be an individual name, etc. And it's very similar to the whatever you are seeing in the astronomy, right? If you look far away in the sky, many of the stars, multiple stars, they may appear as a single star. Even millions of stars appear as a galaxy, but it will be like a dot in the sky, like a star. So the same thing happens in the prehistory also. That's a theory. Now, a little more focused, I'll say that most of these ancient people, they are connected with the deeds of Indra, and we have a certain group of Angirasas. Even though I mentioned the names are lost, some names are there. Like for example, pre-Ṛgvedic Angirasa rishis they are Ribhu, Vaja, and Viphuan. They are mentioned in collectively as Ribhus in the or as Vajas in the Ṛgveda. So I mean, this is not very important in our analysis, but when anybody reads Ṛgveda, they will get to see these names like Ribhu, Angirasa, like that, like Ribhu Yaksha, like some kind of some suttas have these names. So that this whatever talk we have, the people get familiarity. Okay, the Ribhu means is one of the Angirasas, etc. Vaja means another Angirasa. And the collective name also, they have Ribhu as a collective name, etc. So when you read Ṛgveda, I think some of you have started reading the Sanskrit version of the Ṛgveda. When you encounter these names, you can have some familiarity. And then there are Navagvas and Dashagvas. They are the special groupings of Angirasas. Navagva is a group of 9 Angirasa. Dashagva is a group of 10 Angirasa. And in the Ṛgveda, they are mentioned as group of singers. So it's like a chorus of singers who sing in praise of Indra. And these Angirasas, they have also got some kind of a semi-divine status. That may be not very familiar with people who are familiar with Puranas. Angirasas are always considered as rishis. But in the Ṛgveda, they have a semi-divine status. Sometimes they were considered as divine beings. Something like angels in some other civilization. So they are divine singers who sing in praise of Indra. Similarly, the Bhrigus, some of the Bhrigus are very clear, distinct, like Atharvana, Datyang, and Usana Kavya. These are all Bhrigus, pre-Ṛgvedic Bhrigus, considered as very ancient. And maybe most important aspect of the pre-Ṛgvedic rishis, even if you forget all of this, is that the Angirasas were the priests of the Pauravas. So we already have Kurulai, who were the prominent Indra worshippers. So the Angirasas became more or less like an advisor or priest to the Puru lineage. Means they took the role of Purohita or advisor or a guru of the Purus. And similarly, quite equivalently and in opposite, the Bhrigus, they became the priest of the Anavas, who were opposed to the Pauravas. So this Puru Anu opposition, that is very much seen in the Puranas as an opposition between Devas and Asuras. And so that is why one of the Bhrigu, the Ushana Kavya, is considered as an Asura Guru. That is the reason. But see, most of the English translations, we always translate the Asura as a demon and etc. But it's very completely wrong, because if you look at the Ṛgveda or in the Itihasas, Puranas, they are not considered as 100% negative, etc. Because they are two different group of people, and during some historical period they had a conflict. But doesn't mean that they are like something like demons and angels in the Christian theology, etc. But unfortunately, because we don't have much information about it, always carried away by the Western narrative, we often translate it wrongly like that. They are all, if I look at the Ṛgvedic lineage analysis, they are all cousins. They are kins, just like Pandavas and Kauravas. So they are not very different even physically. If you are able to time travel and look at them, they will all look like children of the same family, and they have almost similar kind of language, linguistic they speak this almost similar kind of language, etc. But of course, later in the late Ṛgvedic period, they started migrating. So the west, the Anavas started migrating to the west. So because of that distance, and slowly because of the separations, they developed a different language, that is the Avestan language, which is very similar to Sanskritam, but a lot of pronunciation differences and grammatical differences. And this Avestan language slowly become the Persian language. We in our history, in our independent history, like our current period, we know them as Persians. So this is all how started in the early Ṛgvedic and the early, late, and middle and late Ṛgvedic period. They started separating from us, and then had a different civilization, the Iranian civilization, etc. So the Bhrigus associated with these Anavas, and not all of the Anavas went to Iran, right? I mentioned in the previous talk. Some of them again returned back to their ancestral land, that is the Kurukshetra, and associating with the Bharatas, etc. We have, that is why we have the Jamadagni and Parshurama, all of this part of the Bharatiya civilization. They are the Bhrigus who have decided to live in India or associated with the Bharatiya civilization, the Bhargavas. So that's what all about the ancient or the pre-Ṛgvedic rishis or the composers. So now let's just move to this slide, and this is also very clearly shown in the book also. Yeah, this is the slide of the rishis. So here rishi means this is basically a slide talking about the composers. So when I say composers, most of them are the rishis. So you can see the Angirasa, Prabhu, Jamadagni, son Rama, all these people, they are all rishis, but some of the composers are kings themselves. Like Divodasa appears as a composer. He appears as a poet in the Ṛgveda itself. So that's why some kings are there. Very rarely some kings are appearing as composers here. So this is a composer chart. So most of them are, so that's why rightly I call it the poet, the Ṛgvedic poets. So when the poets means very rarely 10% of them can be the kings themselves, but 90% they are the rishis. So this is the kind of the entire, this is the major rishis mentioned in the Ṛgveda. Like for example, you can see the mandala, the oldest mandala, the Bharadwaja and Supotra, Sunahotra, the Bharadwaja's sons or descendants. They are all mentioned as the Ṛgvedic composers, and most of them are found in that sixth mandala, etc. Supotra and Sunahotra. All these people are mentioned there. And we have in the third mandala, you have the Vishwamitra. Like, so it's like mandala 3, and then we have Vishwamitra here. And this Bhrigu or Giras, all of them are past, like earlier than the sixth mandala. So that's why they're slightly above this line of the sixth mandala line. Like that. So these are the kind of composers that we have in the Ṛgveda. And then what we have is here, this is the early Ṛgvedic Jamadagni and his son Rama. So this Rama, not to be confused with the Rama Dasharatha's son Rama, because very clearly he is mentioned as a Rama Jamadagnya. And this is a kind of a early Ṛgvedic Jamadagni. So I have already mentioned there was a 10th mandala Jamadagni. I'm not mentioned here, but he is mentioned in the list of 10th mandala composers. So once again, like the previous talk I mentioned in the previous session, here I can mention. So these are the real Jamadagnis and Ramas who are mentioned in the early Ṛgvedic period. Because of their fame, they are extremely famous. Some composers in the 10th mandala reuse their names. So mostly, like for example, in a lineage, if one or two generations became famous, like a Jamadagni become famous and his son Rama become famous, then automatically that two names will keep on repeating in the subsequent generations. So the one generation will name them, the person will name themselves as Jamadagni, and he will name his son as Rama. So like that it happened. And it has happened for not only for Jamadagni and Rama, but also for Vasishta, Vishwamitra, all these people, the names keep on repeating, especially in the 10th mandala. In the late Ṛgvedic, some of them are in 9th mandala. So in the late Ṛgvedic period, all the famous Rishi names in the early Ṛgvedic period, they got repeated. Some of the new generation, they took up those names because they are very famous. So that is why we got similar names in the early Ṛgvedic period as well as in the 10th mandala period. Some of the rishis having the same name. So you should that confusion you should be clear from your mind. So, and again, this same confusion when you read in the Ṛgveda, you get the similar kind of confusion. Why there is a Jamadagni in the early Ṛgvedic period contemporary to the early Ṛgvedic Vishwamitra and Vasishta, and the Jamadagni have got a son named Rama, and how come the same names are appearing in the 10th mandala? And even this Vasishta had a son Shakti. The early Ṛgvedic Vasishta had a son called Shakti, and his son Parashara. All these people are mentioned in the early Ṛgvedic period, and some of them are witnessed the Kurukshetra war. The Dashrajna battle. They have witnessed the Dashrajna battle. They are mentioned as a witness of Dashrajna. So they are contemporary to the Dashrajna battle of Sudas, etc. But the thing is, just like I mentioned about Jamadagni and Rama, these people become very famous, probably because they are witness to the Dashrajna battle, which is the most famous ancient battle of our tradition after Kurukshetra war. And because of this, many people even starts confusingly say that no, Kurukshetra war may be a re-rendering of the Dashrajna battle, etc. But we have so much of information to understand that these two wars are different, because the Dashrajna battle occurred in the Parushni River, that's the Ravi River, which is on the border of India and Pakistan. And the Kurukshetra war very clearly occurred on the Saraswati River, which is in the Haryana. So they are different battles and at a different generations. Good. But because of this confusing names, some people have say that, oh, why not it can be same? But it's not, because we have so much amount of data. So anybody who is having a very shallow understanding, they will look at the very sparse data and make it this wrong conclusion. But we can very clearly say they are separate because of the river names itself are different. And the reason why the names, for example, Vasishta, Shakti, Parashara, these three names get repeated in their generation is because the very ancient Vasishta, Shakti, Parashara are very famous. So that three names got repeated. Even in the history of the Iranian kings, 2 or 3 king names keep on repeating 1 or 2 times because the names were famous. In India, for example, the name Chandragupta, we keep on repeating. So we have Chandragupta 1, Chandragupta 2, etc. And in Shankaracharya's lineage, if you look at many of the famous Acharya names get repeating 2 or 3 times. Sometimes one Acharya and his descendant name repeat exactly like that second time as a 2 generation descendants. So these are all common in the lineages, the famous lineage names. Even a single individual or 2 or 3 consecutive generation individuals can keep on repeating. So that is why some of these names are available already as a composer name in the 10th mandala. And there is a 100% scholarship agreement that 10th mandala is a very late mandala. So this is not only the agreement is not only in the out of India theory based scholars, but even IIT scholars. So all kind of scholars, even who are following Aryan invasion theory or opposite of it, they are all agreed 10th mandala is very late. So there is no ambiguity about the lateness of the 10th mandala. So those sages or the composer names in 10th mandala, even if they are named as Vasishtha, Vishwamitra, or Parashara, or Shakti, or Jamadagni, or Rama, Rama means Rama Jamadagni, all of them are later individuals. They cannot be equated with the earlier Ṛgvedic individuals. So that, and for example, this talk, that is the primary thing that I need to establish. And then you see so many other names here, and I don't familiarity with those names, but again, give some of the most important names, like for example, this Vishwamitra's famous descendant Madhu Chandas have written a lot of suktas in this early first mandala period. Then there is a descendant of Vishwamitra, Prajapati Vishwamitra, and there is one of the descendants. His name is Samvarana. These are all very famous. Jadar Madhuchandasa, then Sunas Sefa. Sunas Sefa is not a real son of Vishwamitra, but he adopted him as a son. Some of you may be knowing the story of Sunas Sefa, which is the Puranas start repeating that story, that he was supposed to be sacrificed as part of a human sacrifice, but Vishwamitra helped him escape from that sacrifice by reciting the Sukta of Indra, Varuna, and Vishnu. So those are all very famous in the Puranas. But in the Ṛgveda, there are fragments of that incident. And similarly, like along with Vasishtha, there is Agastya lineage, and there are some very young Agastya's descendants like Gaupayana, Matsya, and the Bachyuta, etc. here. And there's a lineage of Kutsas. Kutsa is currently you can see in Karnataka and everywhere. The Kutsa is a family name. They are all descendants of the Kutsa lineage. And there is a Rahugana lineage here. Yeah, Rahugana and Gautama, Motha, Swamadeva, all these people. It's the Gautama lineage. The Angirasa has got one of the lineage, which is the Gautama lineage. That is this lineage. And then there is a Bharadwaja lineage. I think here it is. Yeah, this is the Bharadwaja. There is a Bharadwaja lineage also. So Angiras have primarily these two lineages. So these names may be famous to you, familiar to you. Like for example, Gautama is a famous name, even is one of the popular Indian name, and Gautama is a Gotra name also. And Kashyapa, the Kashyapa is another ascetic lineage, and there are so many Kashyapas mentioned, like Avastara, Rekha, like that. This color code is very easy to recognize it. And then you have Bharadwaja in this Angira Bharadwaja lineage and Gautama lineage. So the Bharadwaja lineage, Suhotra, Sunahotra, Ajamala, Purumila, etc. And these names also are found in the royal lineage of the Bharatas. So that is the one reason why I think in our previous talk, one question came whether Bharadwaja have any royal roles. Yeah, definitely, because the Bharadwajas are indistinguishable from the Bharatas, because many of the Bharadwaja lineage rishis are even mentioned as kings in the Bharata lineage. So they are these two lineages of the rishi and the king. They are all mixed up, and that is why we have these names: Suhotra, Sunahotra, Ajamila, and Purumila. All these people are mentioned. Suhotra is mentioned as a king in the Mahabharata. He is mentioned as an ancestral king of the Pandavas and Kauravas. So he's a Bharata king. And Ajamila is another ancestral king and very famous. So they were because this is the early period. It's only up to this is mandala number 4. So it's a very early, so the middle Ṛgvedic period.